Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over how to make an Amazon FBA PPC campaign in 2020. It's going to be a great step-by-step walkthrough for everyone who may be struggling with PPC or just wants a little bit of a more in-depth view at it. So yeah, stick around. If you've been enjoying my content so far, please be sure to like and subscribe. It helps a lot. And comment Amazon PPC on this video for a chance to win a phone call with yours truly. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm excited about this one. I have learned a lot about PPC just through PPC specific courses, implementing tests on my own. There's no better way to learn something than just getting out there and doing it, right? So you could take all the classes you want, but go implement it. Even if it's not Amazon FBA, go try the business model, go get your feet wet. Go launch an experiment. There's no failures. There's just successes and there's lessons. So if we have that mentality, there's nothing to be scared of with Amazon PPC. It's a phenomenal tool. It's the only tool I use to launch my products. I don't do any giveaways anymore. So it's great. There's nothing to be scared of. I think a lot of people give it a bad rap because maybe they tried something, a strategy. I see all these videos on YouTube. People are like, you want to launch aggressive with PPC, you need 5 campaigns, all with $100 a day budgets. I'm like, oh my God, no, don't do that. An unoptimized brand new campaign with high bids and $100. Do you understand that these people had, like myself, when I was starting to have $1,000 for your inventory and everything else, like you do a couple campaigns at $100 a day. I literally bankrupt my business, not bankrupt, but I went negative in my business account my first time. Those of you who know me will know this story because of PPC. And I don't say that to scare you, but I say because you need to have a good understanding of it. And that's what this video is for. And what I did was I was exactly what I just said, big expensive campaigns that were unoptimized, blowing through money for no reason. I was just wasting it. So I'm going to show you how not to waste money in this video. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a PPC campaign from scratch. So we're right in my Amazon Seller Central account here. We're going to be creating it for one of my products, this macrame shelf here. I just launched this in January. We are starting to get the ACOSs down. I have 30% average now with a 35% profit margin. And again, these are only PPC sales. So organic sale, I'm getting a lot of organic sales. So this isn't factoring that in. This is just what I'm actually paying for and what I'm getting back from that specific ad. But if someone buys my product just from searching macrame shelf and they don't click on my sponsored one, that's not going to show up here. So my actual ACOS is much lower. A lot of people don't factor that in because you wouldn't have gotten that position without those PPC sales. So it starts to level off, right? And I think that's where people get worried is, how long can they maintain an ACOS? Well, if you just hang on a little longer and you're smart about your optimization, what will happen is you'll get more organic sales and your PPC spend might even go down because you're getting a majority of sales from organic ranking. That's the ultimate goal. So let's get into this. I'm going to show you from scratch how to do it. Now, the first step that we're going to do is we're actually going to go find the keywords, right? Because Amazon is a search engine. People come to Amazon with a very specific need, right? They're going to go to Amazon and they're going to search, type in rustic picture frame. The customer that searches that is looking for a rustic picture frame with a high intent to buy. So now we could leverage that knowledge by wedging our listing right here. And this is usually a spot too, but it's not being used. Getting in front of that customer with a very specific product. So now let's go search, one of the main broad keywords for my product, or at least what I call it. It doesn't have the most search volume, but that's what it is. So I'm on page 1. I think my organic listing fluctuates. Where is it? It's right here. It's like at the middle to bottom of middle of page 1 right now. And it bounces around between the middle and the top. So this is something that I've already ranked for, but I'm going to show you, how to reverse engineer. Well, we're turning a keyword into a PPC keyword campaign. What are the steps to doing that? That's what we're going to do right now. So what I want you to do is start with your keyword, right? Start with what is your product, what is the search. Think about it from a keyword and a phrase and a search point of view. So we're gonna roll with macrame shelf, right? That's what we're trying to rank for. And now a very important part of this is knowing how many customers are searching for those terms. If one customer a month searches for macrame shelf, it does me no good to try and get in front of that one customer, right? Perhaps they buy it, or perhaps they buy someone else. We want, hundreds of searches for these keywords. So what we'll then do is actually take just the main keyword that you know of your product by. Generally, the rule of thumb here is to use as few words in a phrase as you can to get to your product, right? So I could say wall hanging macrame shelf, right? That's additional words, and yes, that phrase will have searches too. But if you really want to go broadest just to start your campaign with, I could get that down to macrame shelf and it'll still show me the right product. Now, if I just do shelf, that's going to be too broad. So you want to make sure that you're not going too broad. Again, it has to be showing you the correct product. So we'll roll with macrame shelf. And again, that's specific, right? I'm not doing just shelf. I'm not doing wooden shelf. Macrame, that's what this cotton is if you don't know. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to Helium 10. Now, Helium 10 is a software that I use mostly for this kind of thing, for keyword research, for back-end listing optimization, for building my listings, for doing keyword processing. It's a great tool. If you don't have it already, I do have a link down below. You could get it for like 10% off for life, so it's a pretty sweet deal. If you want to follow along, go ahead and pick that up. If you don't have it, it's not that big of a deal. Use whatever keyword research tool that you're comfortable with. There will be a few steps in here you might not be able to do, but you should be able to get the most of it. So what we'll do is we'll actually come into, now this is Keyword Research Magnet by Helium 10. It's right over here. I just wanted to say that in case you're wondering where we are. If you clicked onto the Helium 10 website and then go to magnet, that's where we are. So we'll go macrame shelf. So we're just going to take that broad keyword and place it right into, I've searched that before, of course, because I've done this before. We're going to put that right into magnet here. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to show us the search volume for that phrase. So 700. So, there's about give or take 25 customers a day searching for macrame shelf, which is great. I'm okay with, it's not nothing, right? It's not 20,000 searches, but it's not nothing. 20, if you break it down into daily customers with a very specific purchasing, they want to purchase that specific product, that's great. Now, you'll notice here, filtered keywords, 4,000 additional keywords related to macrame shelf. And that's the important part. And here's where we can use Helium, and this is why I'm using this software, because of their filters. It's going to allow me to find very specific keywords that are related to my product only. If you're making an Amazon PPC campaign and just dumping 1,000 keywords into it, good luck, because that is not how you should be doing this. I'm saying 25 keywords in a campaign max. Very specific, very targeted, very on point to your product. That's how you win with PPC. So let's go ahead and do that, right? We're going to use some of these filters, and for now, we're at such a broad point in this that what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go ahead, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do show phrases that contain macrame. Does that make sense? So now we've taken that list of 4,000 keywords. We've got it down to only about, 200 keywords. That's great. It's fantastic. And then what we can do is we can go search volume. Great. Now what we're looking at is we're looking at the most searched terms that have the word macrame in it that are related to macrame shelf. You following along? If at any point, just rewind if you don't get what I'm doing. But we're going to keep going here. So now we can see macrame wall hanging. Now that's just going to be actual macrame, right? So that's not going to be relevant. That's too broad. That's something that, were you not being smart and just dumping keywords into a campaign, would have gotten in there, and that you probably would have spent a lot of money on without realizing it. It would have just been wasting your money. Now macrame plant hangers. Again, those are just macrame. They support pots. So we're going to keep going even more specific. Not a book. Plant hangers, no. plant hanger, no, no, not wall decor. So wall decor is one of those that I actually would put in, because macrame wall decor, that customer's open to seeing options. So they might not just be looking for a wall hanging, they might be looking for a plant related product, they might be looking for a shelf. So that's one that I would put in, test it, see how it does. It might do well. If it doesn't, no harm done, because the way that we're going to structure our bids and our budgets, we'll figure that information out early before it hurts us. So right, the first one that we're seeing here is macrame shelf, right? Of course, that makes sense. That's the one that we put in. We're also getting macrame hanging shelf. So now we have another keyword there. That's a different phrase that we can bid on, and that has an additional 400. So now combine that with the other one, and we're up over 1,000 searches for our specific product. And now what I'm doing is, you'll notice I'm not just, you might have seen a couple of these videos where people just take these keywords and just export them and dump them. Oh, I almost knocked a cup off my desk. Just export them and dump them into a campaign like I've been saying. We're actually going through and we're hand picking these, right? So we're gonna start adding these into a column here. What we can do is macrame shelf. We could do macrame hanging shelf. And we'll just keep carrying them over. Where were we? Here we go. So right, it's not that tedious, because we're really only trying to get 20 keywords, 20 to 30 keywords, right? And so now you might be noticing we're getting into these really low search volume keywords. Now this is where I start to ignore some of these. It's like, okay, if something has, 10 searches a month, it's like, it's not worth doing. So these, however, are close to 10 searches a day still. So I wouldn't neglect these. And the way that we're going to be bidding on these, you can still get sales from them even if it's not that exact search. So for instance, macrame shelves, I'm definitely going to go ahead and put in there. Why don't we do this? Work smarter, not harder. Oh, that doesn't look too good. Maybe we will work dumber. Okay. Macrame plant hanger shelf. Perfect, right? So you'll notice if we were to open up my product here, that I do have a plant on it, right? As do many others. It's a very relevant thing that people in the boho space do. Indoor plants, right? So that's a great keyword to add in as well. We'll grab that one. So macrame plant hanger. Not plant hanger, we wanted the one with shelf. Where did that one go? Someone's seeing it right now and they're screaming it over the video. Why can't I see it? There it is. Oh yeah, we don't want to do that. Macrame plant hanger shelf. Great. Thought I made that big enough. Okay, cool. And now you notice we've kind of come to the end of the line there. So the original way that I found this product was hanging shelf. So broader category, really big, right? This has a lot more searches, a lot more products. It's not just macrame, but that'll actually work great, because what we're going to do is we're going to take now hanging shelf and we're going to put that in this search instead. Do a new search. I haven't searched that in a while, so we'll do the latest up-to-date information. Yeah, you'll see that has about 10,000 searches per month, right? That's quite a bit. That's a lot. That's, with this, at this point, this is a little over 300 searches a day. So now what we can do, again, we'll go in. You can see there's 9,000 filtered keywords. That's too many. So now we could put the word macrame into the search hanging shelf and see what we get. Great, so now let's look through some of these. And the logic here is we'll actually be getting different results because we're using a different keyword to find these results. if you're following along. So many of you might have thought, what's the point? We just kind of did this. Well, we could see different options now. So again, we're just looking through here and actually hand picking the keywords out of here. So macrame wall hanging shelf is another one. What we're gonna do is we're also gonna put hanging shelf in there. That's like the ultimate keyword we do want to rank for. We could put that in there and see how it behaves and adjust it accordingly, because that is relevant enough. I am selling a hanging shelf. It is definitely a hanging shelf. We can now also go through here. We could do, let's see. So macrame wall hanging plant holder. It's like essentially a way of saying macrame plant shelf without saying the word shelf. What was it? I didn't do that right. Macrame wall hanging, and now I've lost it again. Wall hanging plant holder. Okay, cool. So we're up to 7 now. That's pretty good. We're getting down to just a few hundred searches here now. We can also do, let's see, macrame or boho macrame. We'll add that in there. We'll actually add the word shelf. So feel free to customize them, right? If you're actually someone that could search for this, you don't have to like just get the ones that people are putting in there, right? Get creative. So we could say hanging macrame shelf. That's different than what's there. Surely people are gonna search that, right? We could do, that's a pretty good variation of it. We could do macrame plant shelf, right? Slightly different. Don't feel like, you know, come up with kind of plays off of the original keywords. When we make our campaign, you'll see why that's okay to do. Okay, cool. We've got about 10 now just from our magnet tool. So these are very, very specific keywords to our product. These are not random, like, right? Imagine if we just dumped all these in here. We would have had so much optimization to do. A swing, we don't have a swing. Okay, macrame decor. I'm actually gonna put that one in. Did we do that already? We did something decor, right? No, I'm just going crazy, got it. Macrame decor, because even though it's broad, it's macrame, and our product is a decor item. Most of my reviews on my product are they're using this for kitchen decor or home decor, right? So that will work. And again, don't be afraid to test it. Be willing to test, but keep it on a short leash. Don't let it roll out of control. When we start dumping hundreds of keywords into a campaign and setting bids super high and setting budgets super high, that's where you could have known that that word wouldn't have worked in the first place, right? I don't need to test macrame table to know that that's not my product. It's not going to work. Could you bid on that and possibly get a sale once by accident from someone who likes your product? Yes, because it has the word macrame in it. But we're going more specific than that. The next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to grab our competitor's ASIN. We're going to put that into Cerebro. So what we're going to do is we're going to do macrame shelf again. I'm going to find our top competitor, which is this guy right now. We're going to take his ASIN, and we're going to come over to Cerebro. Now we're in Cerebro in Helium 10. This is going to give us keywords that this listing is ranking for. It's a really cool tool. So you see this listing is actually ranking for 1,200 different keyword phrases. Another thing that you can do that I totally forgot about, but I have done this before, is when you look over here at word frequency, you can use this kind of as a keyword bank to make up new phrases. So we could do macrame floating shelf, we could do macrame hanging wall shelf. Okay, does that make sense? So let's do, I know for a fact that macrame hanging floating shelf does actually produce results for me. We're looking at this keyword bank and picking out keywords that we can make new phrases out of. So now what we've done is we've found this ASIN. It's our direct competitor. You will be picking your direct competitor, not this ASIN. Hopefully you understand that. For whatever your product is. And then what you're gonna do, here's a really cool thing. This one filter makes Helium 10 just a beautiful, beautiful software to me. You can say, hey, what is this listing showing up for organically? No, they're not spending money to be here. And we could say, show me all the listings, or show me all the keywords where this listing is ranking in the top 10 results. Top 10, super important. It's where majority of Amazon sales are gonna come from. And also when you're on mobile, I don't have a phone there, but when you're on mobile, there's only, I think, like 15 results, maybe even less. I think it's about that, 13, something like that. So you're only seeing the top 10 or 15, and then you have to actually click page 2. Most people won't do that. So we're gonna say we wanna see all the organic keyword phrases where this listing is ranking in the top 10. And then to make sure it's organic, we're just gonna go ahead into match type and select organic, and we'll hit apply. Right, so we can see there's actually 50 phrases that this listing is ranked organically top 10 for. So now we could go in and we could go and sort by search volume. So wall hanging, very broad. I don't even know what that would pull up. Okay, you just search wall hanging and there's a lot of macrame stuff. That's interesting. So very broad, but hey, whatever. Hanging wall decor. So again, those are a little broad. Macrame wall hanging large. Again, that's just a normal macrame. So check this out. Look at this. This is beautiful. Macrame wall hanging, but it's spelt wrong. So that's such a misspelling that Amazon won't actually bid for that word. It looks like its own word. It's not just like we put an N there instead of M, which Amazon says they will fix or show you for. This is actually, that just looks like a different word. So we could take macrame wall hanging, and I'll just grab that exact spelling. And it's funny because 900 people a month are actually misspelling it like that. I probably would have wrote something similar to that if I had, not had a product that was actually related to it. So macrame spelt wrong, wall hanging. And then we could roll with that, right? So we could go macrame shelf. We could go macrame hanging shelf. Great. Cool. So already we found a couple more. And notice, guys, what I want you to take away from this is just how specific we're being here. We're hand picking these keywords. That's what I want you to take away from this. Some of you will find this annoying and I'm being too tedious. This is how you build campaigns that are good from day one. And even these won't be good from day one. Some of these had 60-70% ACOSs, which is a lot better than how I used to do it and get 200 or 300% ACOSs before optimization. But still, there will be some keywords that you bid too high on. We'll get to that, right? Okay. But for now, we're handpicking keywords. That's what we're doing right now. I want you to be on the same page here. We only want about 15 to 30, 20 to 30. If you can't even find that many, that's okay. Let's look a little bit longer. We'll try and get to 20. Did we have the macrame wall hanging shelf variation? Macrame wall hanging shelf, yes we did. Boho shelf, beautiful. Did we put the plural? Yes, we did. Macrame plant shelf. Got it. Okay, so we're at 16 keywords here, and we've got pretty much most of them. And now these are long tail keywords, so boho hanging shelf. There's another one we could do. These are long tail keywords, but that's a good thing. The fact that they don't have as many searches and they're kind of underdogs means that it's going to be so much easier for you to rank for those keywords, and then you're increasing the range of pages that you're organically ranked for. So boho shelf and macrame shelf, although different pages, right? Those are both going to have their own page one. We'll be in the same campaign. We'll be bidding on both of them. And then our hope is that we get enough sales from those specific PPC phrases that Amazon goes, hey, this listing on page 3 is making 5 sales a day. They should be in the top 10 at that rate, and they'll bump us up. And then if we stick there, we actually get this snowball effect that happens. We actually get more sales after we get ranked with these. So it's a beautiful process. We're just about done collecting keywords here. Yeah. Yep. So I don't see macrame shelf hanging. They're all going to just be variations of the same, like, keyword bank keywords repeated over and over again. And what we can do is we can do wall hanging shelf. That's another good one. So now I'm just kind of going in and I'm making up my own with these frequently searched words. Okay, cool. I think we're good there. So we just got right next to 20. Let's just make it 20 for fun. We'll do small macrame shelf. Well, our product's not that small, so that's part where logic took over. Let's do hanging macrame decor. Great, 20 keywords. This is our list. This is our list. Now what we're gonna do, go ahead and copy these. Very specific. Again, we're not doing 300 keywords, just these 20. Don't worry, you will get plenty of impressions. I promise you, I've launched my products just like this. We're gonna do create campaign. Sponsored products. What we could call this, and this is just the way that I do things, you go the name of the product, and then you go the campaign type, being manual, not automatic, and then you go broad and phrase. Here's a question that all of you are going to have. What should I set my daily budget to? Guys, $10 is fine. If that's all you have, I'll generally do 20 just to give it a little bit more room to breathe. But even with scaling Amazon products and growing my business, I don't need to start a campaign with 100. You may have noticed I do have a couple campaigns that are running at $100 a day budgets. It's because they're already optimized. They have 15% ACOSs. They're profitable. I've gotten them to the point that they've proven that if I give them a bigger budget, they're going to make me more money, not less. Does that make sense? So feel free to start with 10, 20, it's fine, 15. You don't have to crush yourself with the cost because we're still in this testing phase right now. Okay? $20, it's totally fine. We'll even do 10 for the sake of this. Now 210. Let me just touch on the topic of, yes, I understand that higher campaigns have a place and a time. If you have higher budgets, if you have the same campaign as someone else, say my competitor made this campaign, I made this campaign, they put $1,000 daily budget, I put $10, they would rank higher than me. Amazon wants to say, hey, who has the most money to spend? I want to keep the results to my customers, this is Amazon speaking, consistent. I don't one day have this here, one day the next day. People are recommending products to their friends, they can't even find them. Amazon likes consistency. They like products that sell well, and they're going to keep them at the top of the page. If you show Amazon, hey, I'm showing Amazon that I can afford to stay here. By the way, if I put $1,000, that doesn't mean I'm going to spend $1,000. That's the budget, right? If you budget yourself at $20,000 a month for buying food, that doesn't mean you're going to spend that. If that was your budget, I don't know who the hell spends that much, but it's a dramatic example just for fun. I'm saying to Amazon, hey, I have money to stay here. With the same bids, you'll get there. So I understand that, and that's something that we can touch on later. There's so many points with PPC, I couldn't possibly get it all into one video. And again, there's many different types of campaigns that I make, not just this style, but this is the main manual campaign when you think of how do I create a custom campaign. So we'll come down here, we'll go add group 1, we'll call this broad. What we're going to do, we're going to add the macrame shelf that we're targeting this for. And then right here, let me go over this really quick. Campaign bidding strategy, because I kind of just went over it. Dynamic bids down, you don't have to change that. Just leave it there. What that means is that if you have a bid of $1, but you could have won that ad spend at 70 cents, they'll actually spend less than your bid to get that sale. Whereas if you do fixed bids, we'll just go to that one. We'll talk about this one in a second. You go to fixed bids. You bid $1 and you could have won at 50 cents. They're still going to charge you $1. So that's never a good thing. I don't know how in the world that can help. And then up and down, this can get scary because they'll raise your bids by 100% if you're more likely to convert a sale or show up at the top of the page. So that's where Amazon's just saying, hey, this is a open ground here. We could just spend as much as we want. You want to kind of tame it. So just keep it at down only. Then you're just going to select the product. We're going to do keyword targeting, not product targeting. And then here, Amazon's going to start recommending product words that they think are relevant. Now, these are going to be a lot more optimized for me than they are for you because Amazon has seen where I get sales from. So we could even take some of these that they're recommending, right? These are probably great keywords. Bohemian shelf. We didn't even think of that. So that's one that we could add in there. Macrame wall shelf. I don't know if we did that. Floating plant shelf. Boho kitchen decor. Floating rope shelves. That's probably a great one. But for now, let's just say that we're going to enter our list. Match type, we're just going to do broad for this one. So what that means is that we put in macrame shelf. We could show up for hanging shelf. We could show up for boho shelf. We could show up for macrame wall hanging shelf. It'll actually show up for keywords related to macrame shelf at a suggested complementary level. So we're going to put all our keywords in there. Just paste them right in. I spelled that wrong. Great. Add keywords. 2 of the keywords don't have a suggested bid. It's okay. It's probably just because they don't have enough data for it. So we'll just put 75 cents. That's a good suggested. And now, guys, that's it. We're going to launch that campaign. As soon as you hit launch, this will actually go live. Right, so we can hit launch. And then this is our broad campaign. Now, what you're going to do is you're actually going to repeat that same exact process, but you're just going to create an ad group and then make a phrase version of that. So let's go do that now. Do our macrame shelf here. And we can see our new one is right here. Macrame shelf, manual, broad, and phrase. Now what we can do is there's obviously no information because it hasn't spent anything yet. You click into your campaign and we have one ad group right here, and that's our broad keywords. We're going to create ad group. So it's under the same campaign, same budget. You don't have to adjust any of that. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to call this one phrase. So broad's going to be, it's like sending a signal out to Amazon, and it's just going very broad, for a lack of a better word. And it's going to come back, and we're actually going to use that to find more customer search terms. Phrase is going to stay true to the product phrases or keyword phrases that we put in there, right? So when I go like this, let's use one of these as an example. Macrame shelf. I will show up for macrame shelf. I will show up for macrame shelf hanging. I will show up for wall hanging macrame shelf. What's the same between all the things I just said is that macrame shelf stays intact. If I were to try and say macrame wall hanging shelf, that no longer is the same phrase because that's the phrase. So phrase just keeps whatever you type in intact, and you can add words before or after it. But if you add words before or after any one of these phrases, it's still super relevant. So that's why we're going to be doing this way. So we have two similar, two exact campaigns, not exact right here, not the bid or the match type, but two exactly the same keyword phrase campaigns. The only thing that's changing is our bidding strategy. One is phrase, one is broad. We're not going to do exact just yet. I'll generally wait until I have actual customer search term data to go ahead and make exact. We're going to be getting all of these exact anyway. So I only really use exact when I want to lock down a keyword and I know that it works. So guys, that's it. We're going to do create ad group. And now you can see we have both of them here. And then this is going to take a few days to collect data, but these are now actively spending. And now the cool thing with ad groups is it's spending under the campaign level. So it's not even a new budget here. This isn't $20 a day and this is $20 a day. This is just collectively Amazon's going to use the budget of the campaign to bid against all these different keywords. Now notice we didn't really adjust the bids or anything yet. If you're on a really conservative budget, what you can actually do is you could come in here, and most people will say adjust it upward. We could decrease by a bid percentage and just go down 3% or so. So that'll turn our 70-cent bid into 68 cents. The suggested is still 55 cents. This one's 57 cents. So we're still actually above the suggested bids. This one's $1.1281. So you could even go like this. You could go select all keywords, adjust bid, and that's not what I wanted to do. You select all keywords, and then where is the apply suggested bid won't work if you have keywords that have that no current data available thing. Okay, now we can do apply suggested bid. So now they're actually matching up 55, 55, 57, 57, and so on. Then from there, you could even come in and drop down your bids. Now, here's a funny thing. Let's go to the front end of Amazon for a second and talk about bid strategy. Let's keep macrame shelf in hand. If I were to bid, what was the macrame shelf? 55 cents is the suggested bid to occasionally win it. Different times of day you'll win it differently, by the way. At nighttime you may show up number one. During the day you may show up in the middle of the page. It's because there's different levels of budgets, right? By noon, however many sellers have run out of budget and they may not renew it. So that's why you might get it later in the day. If you come in swinging with bids that are significantly higher, 20% higher than the suggested bid, you're going to get that number one spot, but you may not get the most sales just because you have the number one spot. And let me explain that philosophy, and this is where I will actually end the video. So feel free to click off if you're intrigued about what I'm about to say about bidding. Feel free to hang around. If you hold down a high bid, you will get this spot. It's inevitable. You could get this spot easily. Just have the highest bid. Keep increasing your bid until when you search macrame shelf, yours is that one. In different markets, this will react differently. But what might happen in this case when we have competitors that actually have 500 reviews, right? 400, 300, 300, this is a bigger market, is our product that has, and I could even find an example of this. It just so happens that the one up here isn't. But what you'll often see is that this spot has one review. It's someone just launching their product. Now, who are you going to buy? Let's just say, for fun, that this product and this product were very similar. In this case, it's a little bit different. This says macrame. It's actually not macrame at all, but whatever. I'm just using that keyword. Who are you going to buy? The one with almost 555-star reviews for $19.99, or the one with, we said this one has one review for $23.99, this one, right? Almost every customer will buy this one. But let's assume that you bid, like I said, decrease the bid a little bit, show up at the bottom of page one or the middle of page one. The only way someone will find your product is if they actually scroll down past those And here's a great example. This is mine right here. And I have my bids optimized so I'm showing up in the most profitable spot. If I'm showing up right here, the only way they would have got to my listing is if they didn't like the options above it. If you like this one, you just buy it. You don't keep going. Like, I don't like go search for protein powder, pick the one I want, buy it, and then go back to the home page and keep looking through. It's just like, oh, that's the one I know I like. Love it. Click on it. You forget that page even existed because your attention span's so short from frying it with a cell phone, and you just bang. You buy this and you're done. Here's the logic. Get in the middle of the page and spread your organic listing and your sponsored listing across page 1. I'm down here at like this is actually more like the middle of the page, and I'm at the top of, the first 3 rows right here is my sponsored listing. That way, if customers get past all these bigger, high reviewed ones, they click on my sponsored ad, it's in a place where it belongs. I don't think with 20 reviews I deserve to be up here next to 500. And then if they miss that one, they find my organic one. So that comes later, and that's a strategy as well. So that's the power of changing your bids. I suggest something that I do that I don't think a lot of people do is go keep track of your front end. This is the front end. When you search one of those keywords, where do you show up? So if we were to take, macrame hanging shelf and then search it here, where am I showing up? Let's see. Can we find my product and my index for this? I'm right here. So organically, I'm on row 4 on page 1. Now let's see. I might even have a sponsored listing for this as well. It might even be on page 2. In this case, it doesn't quite look like it. So now, that's the power of looking at the front end. Because I know, hey, there's a keyword here that I don't have a sponsored ad for. I actually have an organic listing there for it, but I don't have a sponsored ad in addition to that. So that's something that I want to go readjust through mine. Now, I don't know off the top of my head, maybe macrame hanging shelf I actually put as a negative exact, and there's all these optimization things that you'll learn along the way. But guys, we're gonna leave it there. I think if you watch this video as a complete beginner, the level of information I just gave you, I've paid hundreds of dollars for. I've literally taken courses that were only a few hours long with similar levels of information. So take this, don't take it for granted. Go apply this to your business model. Hopefully you enjoyed watching. So you can click on the button to your right to get a phone call with me if that's something that you're interested in. You could also watch another one of my videos right here. And you could subscribe if you haven't already right here. But thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to make this video for you. And I'll see you here next time on the channel. Later.